Ever felt like the world is moving in fast forward and you're stuck on pause? For those who've lived under constant suppression, that slow motion feeling isn't just in your head. Now, this isn't about saying every moment of hesitation is a direct result of a difficult past. Life is more complex than that. But what if that mental fog, that split-second delay in your reactions, is actually a deeply ingrained survival mechanism? Let's explore the psychology behind why feeling constantly put down can literally slow you down. Imagine your brain is a computer with multiple tabs open. Now, imagine one of those tabs is a blaring alarm that you can't close. That's what living with constant criticism or suppression feels like. Your brain is always, subconsciously, dedicating a significant portion of its processing power to anticipating the next negative comment, the next disapproval, the next threat. This isn't just emotionally draining, it's cognitively exhausting. Psychologists talk about cognitive load, which is the total amount of mental effort being used in your working memory. When a large part of that load is taken up by threat monitoring and self-censoring, there's simply less bandwidth available for everything else. Think about it in a real-world scenario. You're in a meeting at work, and your boss, who is often critical, asks you a direct question. Before you can even process the question itself, your brain is running a dozen what-if scenarios. If I say this, will they think it's stupid? How can I phrase this to be absolutely safe? What was their reaction the last time someone suggested something similar? By the time you've navigated that internal minefield, the moment to answer swiftly and confidently has passed. It's not that you don't know the answer, it's that your brain was too busy running a threat assessment program to get to it quickly. This is decision fatigue, but on a chronic, minute-by-minute scale. It's not a lack of intelligence, but a misallocation of your brilliant mental resources. We've all heard of the fight or flight response, but there's a third equally crucial survival response: freeze. For someone in an environment where fighting back or fleeing isn't an option, like a child with a critical parent or an employee with a toxic boss, the freeze response becomes the default setting. Your nervous system learns that the safest thing to do when faced with a threat is to become still, to become unnoticeable, to stop. This isn't a conscious choice, it's a physiological reaction. When you're constantly invalidated or put down, your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, becomes overactive. It starts seeing potential threats everywhere. A simple question like, "What did you do today?" can be perceived by the nervous system as a potential interrogation. The result? Your body might flood with stress hormones like cortisol, and instead of gearing you up for action, it can lead to a state of hypervigilance and shutdown. Think of a deer in the headlights. It's not that the deer is slow. Its body has made a split-second, instinctual calculation that freezing is the best chance for survival. Over time, this response gets wired into your neural pathways. So, when you're put on the spot, that hesitation, that moment where your mind goes blank, can be an echo of your nervous system hitting the emergency brake, just like it learned to do to keep you safe. Your hesitation is not a weakness, it's a well-practiced shield. There's a powerful psychological concept known as learned helplessness, first explored by psychologist Martin Seligman. His research showed that when a being is repeatedly exposed to an uncontrollable, negative situation, it eventually stops trying to escape, even when an escape route becomes available. This happens because it has learned that its actions don't make a difference. Now, apply this to a human life. If every time you voice an opinion, it's shot down. If every time you try something new, you're criticized for not being perfect. If every creative idea is met with cynicism, you start to learn that initiative is punished. The motivation to act quickly and decisively begins to wane because experience has taught you that it's futile. This can lead to what researchers call cognitive and motivational deficits. Here's a simple, everyday example. Someone asks you where the group should go for dinner. Years ago, you might have immediately suggested your favorite Italian place. But after years of your suggestions being dismissed or ridiculed by a partner or a group of friends, that place is too expensive. You always pick that. Their service is slow. You learn to stop suggesting. Now, when asked, you pause. You say, "I don't know. What does everyone else want?" Your response is slower because the mental link between having an idea and sharing the idea has been broken by negative consequences. The delay isn't indecision. It's the echo of 1,000 times your decision didn't matter. For those who have been consistently suppressed, every thought comes with an internal editor. This isn't just double-checking your words. It's a constant, high-speed process of filtering, evaluating, and altering your natural responses to make them acceptable to others. It's an exhausting, invisible labor that happens in the milliseconds before you speak or act. This internal monologue can be relentless. While someone else might just blurt out an answer, your mind is in a complex negotiation. Is this the right thing to say? Will this make me sound stupid? Will this upset them? Is there a safer, more neutral way to put this? This process of constant self-monitoring consumes an immense amount of cognitive energy and, crucially, time. Imagine you're driving a car, but before you can make any turn, accelerate, or brake, you have to submit your plan to a committee for approval. That's what it's like to live with a hyperactive internal critic. Your reaction time is inevitably going to be slower than the driver who can simply trust their instincts. That hesitation you feel? It's the buffer time your brain needs to run its own internal censorship board. You're not just thinking. You're translating your own thoughts into a language you hope will be safe from criticism. Your silence isn't empty. It's filled with the sound of 1,000 thoughts being edited. So, if you recognize yourself in the pauses, the hesitations, the feeling of being a step behind, it's crucial to reframe what's happening. This isn't a flaw in your character or a deficit in your intellect. It is a testament to what you have survived. Your brain and your nervous system developed a sophisticated, albeit costly, set of strategies to protect you in an environment where being quick, bold, and authentic was not safe. Your slower reaction time was a shield. It was the armor that kept you from further harm. But the beautiful thing about the human brain is its neuroplasticity, its ability to rewire itself. Recognizing these patterns is the first step. Understanding that your hesitation has a history, a purpose, allows you to stop judging yourself for it. Instead, you can begin to consciously thank that protective part of you for getting you through, and then gently show it that the threat has passed. Healing isn't about becoming faster. It's about feeling safe enough to be present. It's about reclaiming your mental resources from the tireless job of threat detection and reinvesting them into creativity, joy, and spontaneous expression. It's about realizing that the world can be a place where your thoughts are welcome and your voice deserves to be heard in its own time. The goal isn't to react faster, but to respond with more of your true self. If this resonated with you, let me know your story in the comments below. You are not alone in this experience. And for more insights into the psychology of our everyday lives, make sure to subscribe.